Welcome to the Professionals Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm with my guy, Rocky. How you doing, Rocky?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me again.
No problem. I had to have you come on this one because after we talk about this one, which is the 7 big mistakes to avoid in new construction, I have a great story that goes hand. You're gonna be everybody's gonna be out there amazed, like what exactly was this person thinking when building something? But we'll get into this one, the 7 big mistakes to avoid in construction. And so the first one is don't skip the inspection. Do not skip the inspection. That's the number one thing because you don't want to know you want to know everything that's going on with the place. I mean, from the foundation to I'm gonna put a little teaser out there. If you build something, you add on another floor, make sure you get a hold of an engineer. Why you need to get a hold of an engineer? Because you're gonna make sure that second
Yeah,
story stays in place.
yeah, for sure. My neighbors, they're talking about putting a suite above their garage, and they had a contractor friend was like, oh yeah, we can do it. We gotta upgrade this and this, and we can do it. Gotta rip the roof off and stuff. And they're talking about doing that, and she's like, well, he's like, first of all, you should get an engineer. You should get like someone that knows the structure and everything. That we have somebody like that. So they brought him in, and the dude looked at them. They're like, we can do it for sure. He's like, but we had to rip your entire roof off. We had to rip the entire garage out. And she's like, why? She's like, the foundation itself is not supported. Is not has a support system for a 2-story. And I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't even think about that." So
Yeah,
they say, "Yeah, we can do it." But he basically said, "We can do anything. We can build you anything, but you got the money and the time."
we can do it. Oh
He said, "You
my.
gotta rip the whole damn house, half of the house off to get the garage out, right? Which the garage is inside the house,
Yeah.
and then you build up from there." I was like, "Of course you can. Of course you can build an extra house or extra room if you have the money."
That's crazy.
He's like, "We can put a pool on your top of your roof if you
But you're gonna
wanted
have
to,
to pay.
but you gon' pay."
Go pay for it.
I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." Because I was like, "Oh, yeah," because I told him, like, "You could put a extra roof above your garage,
Yeah.
extra room plug that." I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." It's because the room's there, but he's like, "No, it's not that easy.
That
You gotta get that you gotta get the soil inspected and the ground inspected, your concrete inspected, make sure they have the rebar in the right spot, and then your framing has to be, the proper framing with extra support beams and stuff like that." I was like, "Oh my god."
yeah, and you're right about the soil too, because if the soil is wrong, there's gonna be a lot of things going wrong or not gonna happen,
Yeah,
or it's gonna cost a lot of money.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it says builders can miss things, plumbing connections, electrical wiring, HVAC issues, you name it. It says always hire a third-party inspector before closing. It might cost a few $100s, but it could save you thousands in the long run, which is true.
yeah,
If you have the ability, I would hire somebody to go over everything to make sure everything is good.
yeah. I know people skip it because it's just money. Like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's yeah, let's check the electrical. Well, it's gonna be an extra 6 to 800 bucks for some guy to come out." And then the whoever did your electrical is like, "It's good, it's good." Like, yeah, you gotta check it out, and then
And then, a lot of us too, me too, like you go by looks. It looks good. It looks like it should
yeah,
be okay,
yeah,
but you don't really know
uh-uh,
behind the scenes how it is or how
uh-uh.
it's going to operate.
Yeah, like you said, it looks good, but it looks good because you don't know what you're talking about. If
It's
I knew what I was talking about, I'll do it myself.
exactly right.
But
I wouldn't hire
I would
nobody.
hire nobody.
Number two, assume the builder has your back. It says friendly sales rep in your model home. They work for the builder, not you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when people build homes, they have blueprints of how they go about houses. And like we was talking just before, like the material that's used and
Yeah,
how cheaply made, like that's the material that they're
yeah.
using to build homes.
There's
But I'm like,
quality and
yeah,
materials, like, on everything. Everything has a level to it.
exactly. Yeah, they're all they're thinking of is the quantity over the quality.
Mhm. You know what? That's funny. My uncle's gonna build a fence, and, we built fences before together, and, I told him, "Hey, make sure you get that number 2 fence," and he's like, "What?" Like, we were both, like, kinda like, "Oh, what does that mean again?" And apparently, just the fence boards with the dog ears, there's quality as a fence, and it has, like, a number 1, 2, and 3, and those are the like 3 is like the best one, like industrial fences that just made out of wood. It's just the quality much thicker. They're just much thicker, right? And it's not cedar or something like that. It's much stronger wood versus uh like these big companies that come into like Lowe's or Home Depot, and these boards are super thin. They're cut super thin. They're literally flimsy, and they're all warped because they're so flimsy. It's like these are brand new cuts from the Home Depot floor. Like imagine you put that in the sun for a season or 2,
Oh,
and that thing's
just
gonna
break and
warp,
split.
split, and then you replacing those in like 3 or 4 years versus like a high quality wood. But the Home Depot one was like I think at the time was like a $1.98 per fence board, and the ones I bought at the time, a number 2, whatever that means in the construction world, was like $3.90. So it was like dang near double, more than double the price. But man, when I put those boards next to each other, I'm like, oh my gosh,
The
what
quality of it.
quality changed? Can't change it was.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, that makes sense because the grade of the boards because, yeah, you got your thin ones and it's just even
Yeah,
like everything, like,
yeah.
I view it like even, because I love shoes. If you buy a cheap pair of shoes, you know ch
Oh
you
yeah.
know good quality pair of shoes compared to something that you're gonna wear for a week and it break apart,
Yep. And ripping from the seams.
right? Exactly. Yeah, it says, always bring your own real estate agent or advisor who represents your interests, someone who can negotiate, read contracts, and ask the right questions. You wanna make sure you don't want no one wants to be taken advantage of in anywhere aspect. You just wanna make sure that the builder is doing his job
Yeah,
and making sure everything is done accordingly the right way.
yeah.
Number 3, don't ignore the fine print in the contract. And that's good, especially if you're dealing with the realtor, because realtors, they deal with contracts all the time.
Mhm.
You wanna make sure that, everything in the contract is what it is and what it stands for, because you're not trying to be thrown off guard by like, "Hey, you're supposed to do that." Well, it's not in writing. Yes, it is
Yeah,
in writing. You need to do that.
yeah. And no, coming out when I bought my AC unit, I went to 3 different companies. They're all like, high quality companies with good reviews. But like, don't get confused. I went with probably if I say the company's name, it will be like, oh yeah, I went with the top of the AC unit companies in this area, and they their fine print was like, if it breaks down, within like, I think if it breaks down within like 6 months, we'll replace it. But I think after that, that's it. We won't. I was like, oh, that's okay, and then if you have any issues, you call this number and call this number, and then they'll get to us, and we'll schedule in. It's like, oh, that's for such a big company. It's like, that's usually you want like a direct contact, and we'll take care of you. We'll do our best. Customer service is like always top notch. It was a big company name. I was like, dude, this company kind of blows. And then we went with the second best company that was in the area, and they're like, look, if something happens, we're gonna take care of you. He's like, even if it's usually we say any between a year. If it breaks down, we'll replace it, no questions asked. I was like, oh wow.
That's great.
The other companies like, they'll send someone out and they'll look at it. They're like, no, well, if it breaks down, we'll come and we'll just switch it out. And then just I was like, oh, that's cool. I wouldn't even known to even think about that. And then their quality of customer service, like, here's our numbers. He's like, well, this is what we do. We'll give out our personal like work phone number. So how much you can call me. And I was just it was way more direct, and it was like such a much nicer experience. And it wasn't the best of the best company on Google or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, yeah, yeah. It might say it's the best company in the area, but until you like talk to them, read the fine print, and see what they're offering versus like other people, it's like, dude, they're I don't know where they got those 5 stars from, but
Exactly. I
they
tell
give
people,
me.
especially with that, I tell people, do your own due diligence, investigate your own self. Yeah, I don't go by Google reviews all the time because, I mean, anybody can put anything like 5 stars or be hateful.
Yeah.
Talk to people who've like, "Hey, have you had an experience with this with your house? Like, how were they?" Great feedback. I mean, word of mouth is the best thing.
Oh, it's huge. I love word of mouth. Once I got my solar installed in my house, after it was installed and it looked all nice and everything, like, all of our neighbors like, hey, I seen that company come over. How were they?" I'm like, "Dude, they were great. Actually, I don't know about anyone else, but this salesperson right here got his card. He's great." I was like, "Give him a call," and then apparently they gave him a call. I saw the salesperson car at that guy's house next week. I was like, "Hey, do I get a little discount if you get the SL?"
Exactly, right? I need that referral fee.
But yeah.
So, yeah, make sure you do your due diligence and you study, if anything breaks down your house, don't always go by Google. I would just ask, people who owns a house, like, "Hey, have the part of this has, like, your AC unit, has it broke down? Like, who did you go with?
Exactly,
How
yeah.
did they how were they with you? Who was the person that you talked to? Maybe I need to get in touch with them because
Yeah.
I have a problem with my AC unit."
Yep. And some places, offer a lot more of incentive, like, maybe just a little bit lower interest rate or maybe just a little bit more on the warranty, instead of, like, 20-year warranty, they give you, like, 21. It's like, why not? Why not go with the guys get the same exact thing, same price, everything, but the warranty is a little better. It's like, yeah, and then then the other companies were like, "Oh, so why I see that you didn't go with this. Can we ask you why you didn't go with this?" I'm like, "'Cause they gave me a 1 more year warranty."
Exactly, right?
They
And
said,
that
"Oh, okay."
and that speaks volumes right there.
And they were nice.
Yeah. And all right, the next one, number 4, don't over customize. So this one has to do with, if this is gonna be your forever home, do as you must, like,
Mhm.
go all out. But if it's not and you know you're gonna sell in the next 5 to 10 years, don't over customize. So I tell people when I show them homes, I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna show you this house," and they like, "I don't like the way this looks, I don't like the way this looks." And then you have people who that's their house. They fix everything up, and I'm like, and I tell people, I'm like, when a person's on the selling side and they get everything all situated in the house, to their liking, the person who's gonna buy the house, they're not really concerned about that. They're viewing
Yeah.
it in their mind, "All right, Imma buy this house. This is what I'm gonna do," because everybody's
1000%.
everybody's
Yeah.
taste is not the same.
Yeah.
So they're going by like, "Okay, I would do change this, I would change this." When the other person who's selling the house is like, "Well, why don't they like the way it is? It's great the way it
Yeah.
is." But everybody's perception and viewpoints is completely different.
Yeah. I watched a video of, like, what is the most popular color for a house right now? The interior is like that. It's a light gray. It's super neutral. It doesn't hurt the eyes when you're looking at, like, a bright yellow or neon. It's not super dark, it's super neutral. It makes the house look clean, it hides any blemishes because of the slight gray. It works with the shadows and stuff. I was like, and you know what? It's super easy to paint over. It's not like white. If you have a white paint, sometimes you get hit it a couple times because the white
Sure.
might bleed through, or you're going from black to white, it's gonna bleed through. But gray, it's like it's an easy, cheap paint color that you can get. Uh, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like every single house, if I get a rental property, it's gonna be light gray.
Great.
For sure. I was like, because they sell it or I sell it, they want to repaint it, they'll repaint it. But like you said, as long as it looks clean, it feels clean, they're like, that's what they care about. It's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I love this light gray," and it's like, "No, it's a clean house. I don't
yeah,
mind not like the color, but it's a clean house."
exactly, because
I'll
that
sell it.
person that's buying, like I said, they're feeling like, "Imma buy this house. This is what I would change," because that's gonna be their house. But
Yeah.
if it's gonna be your forever home, oh, you can go ahead and modify and do as you
Oh,
please. But
yeah.
if you knowing that you're gonna buy this house and you're only gonna have it 5 or 10 years, don't over customize. That brings me, well,
Mhm.
I was just thinking about something about that too. So it just sold, I believe, last year. If it wasn't last year, it was the beginning of this year. It was the Michael Jordan home.
Oh,
So
yeah?
it was on the market for 10 plus years. I can't remember the
Ooh.
exact years, but MJ thought it probably was going to be his forever home.
Yeah.
So everything was customized to him. Number 23,
Yeah.
everything, the Jordan symbol, everything, 23,
Doorknobs,
everything. And the reason why it couldn't sell because it was over customized to
Yeah.
his liking because that's the way he built the structure. But it
Mhm.
eventually sold after 10 plus years.
Some enthusiast was like, "Yeah."
Like, they were probably thinking like, "How can I change this for my liking?" Because
Yeah.
everything was personalized for his.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's true, that's
I was
true.
thinking about that. I was like, "Yeah, it took a long time for the house to sell because it was customized for him."
Mhm. That's funny you said it because, some friends and people I talk to that try to sell the house or or rented and stuff like that, they're like, "You know what's a big killer? Ponds." You know how people, like, do, like, waterfall water I think we have it here, like, waterfalls and, like, ponds for koi fish stuff.
Mhm.
Like, it looks nice, but man, the upkeep, the
The
maintenance on
maintenance?
it, the location of them are usually, like, in the corner or something like that. It's always an eyesore once you if you don't take care of it. And, like, a lot of times when you look when I was looking at houses, like 80 plus houses, and I saw little ponds, the first thing that popped in my head was like, "Imma take that out."
Maintenance.
Oh,
Maintenance.
maintenance, Imma take it no, I'll say Imma take it out. Imma rip it out and put some grass. I was like, it's not a lot of people have that, or like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, a lot of people don't like it. And the maintenance, I don't even know what the maintenance price of
Yeah.
those bad
I
boys
mean,
are.
ugh.
Yeah. All right, the next one, number 5, don't forget to do your research of the builder. It says check reviews of the BBB ratings and talk to
Mhm.
current homeowners in the community. Huge, huge. I mean, nothing wrong against Google with their, the 5-star, the 4 stars, people's reviews,
Mhm.
but the word of mouth and what people around have dealt with the builders is a great way to navigate if you're going to use them or not, or who to
Yeah.
go to.
Yeah. Just asking your neighbors. I was
Yeah.
watching I think 4 of our neighbors in our area did their roofs, and all of them went with different companies.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, all of them with different companies. Well, I technically went because my company that did my solar, they're a roofing company, and, they do roofs all the time, um, and I never saw them on my street, and I saw, like, the other companies come in. I was like, "Oh, that's strange." Usually, like, you see one company, all they take over the whole area because like,
Mhm.
everyone knows everyone, but, who knows? They might got a deal or something.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. It says, number 6, don't overlook the warranty. It says most builders offer a 1-year workmanship warranty and maybe a 10-year structure warranty. It just varies. Get
Mhm.
clarity what happens if you have if your HVAC fails in 2 years. It fails if your HVAC fails in a year or 2, you got a serious
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, because those things are supposed to last 20 plus years.
Yes. Or you have
God.
roof leaks. It's just you just want to make sure. Like I'm a big person of warranties.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of warranties because unforeseen occurrences can happen anytime. If I can get a warranty on something, shoot, I'm getting it.
Yeah, especially if it's gonna be like your rental property or something like that. Like if you live there and you're a roofer, that's what you do for a living. You're probably not gonna worry about the warranty on the roof. You're like, I could probably fix that cheaper or whatever. But like if it's like you said, a brand new bill
Yeah,
and
brand
they're
new
not
bill.
gonna cover a roof for more than a year or two, it's like, man, you do you. My whole thing was like, do you stand by your work? Because if you stand by your work, a lot of people say we stand by work, lifetime warranty. What was
Yeah.
it? What is it? Snap on? They're like
Hmm.
lifetime.
Lifetime warranty.
They had
Yeah.
that thing for 25 years, snap that wrench, go back,
I
get a
know.
brand new. I was like, "Hey."
I remember this one lady. She bought what did she buy? She had a car, and she always had it. She didn't have to buy many parts for a car, but every part had a lifetime warranty. So when that part went down, she
Mm.
always had a receipt and got it replaced.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So she didn't have to hardly spend anything.
Yeah. After 20 years, you got a brand new used, car because of warranty.
Yes, yeah. So, in number 7, don't automatically use a builder's lender. It said builders often offer incentives to use, preferred
Yeah.
lenders, get that
Yes.
closing costs, upgrades, etcetera, but those, those deals may come with a higher interest rate or junk fees.
Yep.
Yeah, so don't always do your due diligence and shop around.
Yep.
Definitely shop around.
And I didn't think about that too when I did my, AC unit because, um it was so convenient. They made it so convenient. "Oh, we'll just put your name in and then we'll run your credit and see if you can approve for blah, blah, through our people." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine," 'cause we literally did everything on a coffee table or a dining room table. We just did everything. And then we got approved and boom, boom, things are set. But I was like, "Man, I coulda easily went to my bank that I've been banking with for over 20 something years and get probably the same loan, but maybe even cheaper because I've been banking with for so long." With a better interest rate, better payment plans and stuff like that. And that credit will roll into what I'm doing with my personal stuff or my business stuff. So, oh man, I could have done that, but it's sometimes they make it so convenient that it's like, I'll just go with you.
Yeah,
Let's just
it's
go.
convenient because it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the 7 the 7 mistakes that you need to avoid in new construction. First one, don't skip inspections. Number 2, don't rely rely on the builder's rep. 3, don't ignore the contract. 4, don't over customize. 5, don't forget to do your research of the builder. 6, don't overlook the warranty. And 7, don't assume the builder's lender is the best deal.
Mhm.
So let me get into my wonderful story, because that's why I was kind of moving on with this one
Yeah,
real
let's
quick
hear it.
because of it. So I have a client, and the client got a hold of me to help with him with selling a house. He found how he got a hold of me is because one of his friends I helped sell his house. So went out there and I checked out the house and everything, and it's out in the country. You go, through the driveway, through the fence, and you see it. You come up to the house, and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of, kind of interesting. So you look and you could tell that it was not completely done, because in the second story, like, you had French doors where there should be a balcony.
Mhm.
So I go in there, I look and everything, and look, all the electric had been done, the wiring done, the tankless, was it the tankless hot water heater?
Yeah.
The wiring, all that was done, everything. The cabinets and everything still in the plastic, and just basically ran out of money.
Okay.
So I went and I was like, all right, we'll put it on the list and everything. He showed me where the septic was at, and um, it was actually a place where it was a cultivation of cannabis. That's where
Okay.
they used to grow at, but that's there no more.
Yeah.
So put it on the list. And granted, everybody's hitting me up like no other. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, about 4,000 people have seen the pictures and everything
Mhm.
the on the internet.
Yeah.
And I'm getting phone calls from the realtors all the time about this property. And then a realtor hit me up and says, "Oh, I just found out, I didn't know this, but the house is kind of red tag." And I'm like,
Oh.
"Red tag? Like, I didn't know anything about this."
Mhm.
So I went and I did my own due diligence, because the communication wasn't the best. I always have great communication with my clients, but some reason or another, like, the communication part of telling me this wasn't told to me.
Oh,
So
okay.
I went to the permit place for the county, and they were like, "Yeah, you have." It was a nuisance, but I found out why it was a nuisance, because on the other side, on the other side of the road, somebody else was growing cannabis, so it was a competition battle at that
Ah,
time.
okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was years down the way. And then after that, it was unpermitted septic tank.
Oh.
Yeah. And after that was a permitted septic tank. It was supposed to be, this is what it's supposed to be. It was supposed to be a detachable garage on the property.
Okay.
Because back in the day, there used to be a mobile home on the property.
Okay.
So I'm doing my due diligence, and I'm like, interesting. And the lady's telling me, and she's giving me the paperwork, this and that and everything. And I talked to him about it and everything. And then I sit back and I'm like, I wonder if there's a mount on these red, this, on these red, these red flags, these
Mhm.
citations,
You
which
said
there isn't.
a mount?
Yeah, was there
Oh,
a mount,
oh, okay.
attached to them,
Yeah.
which it hasn't, because it hasn't gone to the court system yet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing all my work and everything, and I'm like, this is crazy. So this house, two-story house, was built without no permit, no nothing, no nothing.
Oh,
Make it even
no.
better,
No.
there's no blueprint to this house.
Oh, no. Oh,
So
that's so risky.
the individual is going only by spite of, like, on his head, in his head, how to go about building the house.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, hmm.
Oh, that
Hmm.
makes it so risky.
And I'm like, okay. So then I was like, you know what? I need to go back up there again to the permit place. So I go up there. And this is like, I've gone up. This is my third time going up
Yeah.
there, and there's actually people in there, because the past 2 times there was no one in there, and I was
For
just like in and out.
for the same property? For the
The
same
same property.
Okay.
So I go in there and I'm talking, and the gentleman's talking to me, and he's like, yeah, he's like, so it was a mobile home on this property. I'm like, yeah. And he says, is there any cannabis? And I was like, "No, that's gone." And, he's like, "So how I wonder how they're getting the water." I said, "There's a spring, but we're about
Oh.
we're about to deal we're about to
Oh.
we're about to deal with all the fees in a second.
Oh.
This is gonna be the eye opener.
He said there's a spring?
There's a spring." And I was like,
Oh.
he said, "Well, then how is the pressure going to the house?" I was like, "Well," he said, they need to build a well, and it's gonna be about $20,000 to build a well for the
Uh-huh.
spring for the current flow of the water to come through the house." I was- And then he's like, "Well, it's an unpermitted house." And says, "Well, another problem you have here is that he built it without a permit. And like you were saying earlier, there's a second floor.
Oh.
So he's going to need to bring an engineer out to make
Uh-huh.
sure that this floor is stable and for it to be walked upon
Yeah.
and for anyone who sleeps upstairs, can sleep up there instead of crashing all the way down to the first
Yeah.
floor."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my God." So here's the money coming up now. I was like, "All right." And he's like, "Yeah, so the well's 20,000, right?"
Uh-huh.
And then we got like, so, and then who's using this water is another key issue because we don't know who else is using that water, the easement plan for that.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Oh,
this is the
yeah.
crazy part about this is the one that
True.
got me is the engineering one got me, and then the septic got me. So around where it's at, the property is at, it says unpermitted septic. And usually he said 90% of the time, septics who are just put in without a permit, they're going to fail 90% of the time.
Oh, wow.
And so,
He tell
like,
you why? He
no,
tell you
he didn't tell me why,
I
but
wonder why, like, the foundation or
I
something?
think maybe this percentage might be why. So he said that where it's at, because it's just clay dirt.
Yeah.
He said the reason why is because in 2018 they changed a lot of modifications and stuff and things for the soil and everything when it comes to septic in 2018. So if everything works out and he needs a regular septic, it's going to go anywhere. He said like 15, 20,000, the
Sheesh.
leach and everything, right? He said, but if it doesn't work out and the soil doesn't work out, there's another one. That other septic is $50,000 to $60,000.
Ooh, golly.
Yeah. And I'm looking
Golly.
at him like this, like, are you serious? Like,
It's like cha-ching, cha-ching,
yeah.
cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm like,
And then let me grab this piece of paper real quick.
oh.
Then he's like, oh, and I took I did a scan. I scanned the piece of paper and everything. And he's like, do you know about this? And I was like, well, shoot, no, I don't. I said, maybe all realtors need to know about this, especially this part, because I'm
Mm.
glad I like to stay educated on everything as best I can. He said, yeah, the county education. And I was like, what?
The
Like,
county
yeah,
education.
yeah. The county education is it's a developer fee collection. So for any proposed residential rate at $5.17,
Okay.
you have to pay that also when you build a new house.
Okay.
It goes in a separate bank.
Okay.
So that's over an expense of over almost $7,500
Oh, wow.
that you have to pay for. Yeah, a proposed residential rate to develop a house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's another expense.
Wow.
So I'm like, so we have a house that's unpermitted, uh, septic, definitely not permitted. We have these acres. We might as well just sell it for the acres because
That's
there's
it.
no way you can sell this house because we don't even know if a person's gonna be able to stay upstairs.
Yeah, it's a ghost house. The house not even there. On paper,
Exactly.
it's
On
not even
paper,
there.
no.
Yeah,
After you're done
acreage, you're
paying
right.
for the fees and permits and everything, my God.
Dude, I think I had a friend, dad that did, new constructions, or he, like, revamped houses and stuff, and, he had some guy do the electrical, and he's supposed to get it inspected, but the drywall guy came in the next day and did the whole drywall. The electrical guy's like, "Dude, gotta rip all that out.
All of it out.
I can't see none of this stuff. We gotta rip it
No,
all out." He's
no.
like, "Maybe this area, maybe we can just cut this area, and I can see this area." But he's like, "This area down here, downstairs, we gotta rip it all out. I don't see with the fuse box and stuff, there's no way I can look at that without ripping his drywall out." So it's like, you imagine that, the house is you said brand new this and that and cabinets on the
Yeah,
floor still. All that stuff must get ripped out, looked at, plumbing.
everything.
I mean, there's no plumber's gonna be like, "Yeah, it looks good." No, they need to rip it out. You gotta make sure,
And
oh,
granted, it looks
uh,
like so basically there's no door on where the electric box is. You see all the wiring, you see all the wiring for the tankless hot water heater.
uh-huh.
But through the walls?
Yeah, through the
No, they
walls,
gotta check everything. All
everything.
that drywall has to come out. They
Yep,
wanna know where it leads to and to make sure
yep.
it's done at this
It's not spliced and crazy in some areas and stuff like that.
exactly.
I was like, "Oh, dude, that's a lot of money, a lot of times." Luckily, they were able to, like, screw the drywall out because it wasn't
Yeah.
painted yet, but he was pissed. He was like, "Dude, I told you don't drywall yet." Whatever, but electrical guy was cool. He's like, "I'll come back tomorrow." But yeah, he's
Wow.
like, "This whole thing would need to come out. I'm not gonna pass something I can't see." I was like, "Oh, dude."
Oh, no, because
Imagine this guy right here.
he'll be liable.
Yeah. It burns down. It's
Exactly.
just like, "Oh, yeah, I inspected, his name's on it." But yeah, imagine this guy trying to sell his house. No, oh, dude, that's crazy.
Now, and the
Crazy.
crazy part of this is I might have somebody who wants to buy the house. And the thing is, he said that he can fix everything on his own and everything. And his problem is if he sells it. I said, if you sell it, you're gonna have to sell it
Same
for
problem.
cash.
Yeah.
And he said, could it be sold? I said, yes, it can be sold, but I will tell you this, I'm gonna disclose everything
Yeah.
that I know.
And if they ever have to pull permits or whatever and get the house inspected for something, I mean, there's no one's gonna warranty the house and insure like, the house.
Never.
They're
Never.
like, "How are we gonna insure the house when they" because
Never.
they're gonna have someone appraise it, right, or whatever and stuff. They're gonna look it
Mhm.
over. And if you don't get that appraisal, they're gonna be like and they appraise it like, "Yo, that house is worth nothing because we don't like this is crooked, this is that," or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Oh man.
Yeah.
Their own inspections that the banks always do to look at houses.
Mhm.
Like you said, you have to sell it cash because no one's gonna loan you a house that's not
No.
permitted.
No.
And if you even if you do buy it, I mean, like we talked about, I think like number one, you got don't skip the inspections
Yeah.
until permits.
It's so true because right now it's at a rate where the part I can't get out of it, there's no blueprint.
Yeah,
Every house has to have a blueprint.
yeah,
I mean, that's I always tell people, all right, let me see what's the blueprint of the house? How's it
yeah,
structured?
yeah,
I'm not going by sight and how I
yeah.
feel at the time.
So the guy sold it? Oh, the guy that you're selling, he's the one that built it?
Yes,
Mm,
yes. And there's actually a guy who was thinking about selling it. I mean, selling it, buying it. But I told him I'm going to disclose everything underneath the sun to let him know what's going on.
yeah. If you wanna
I
buy
said,
it.
and I said, and I said, he said, can it be done? I said, yes, it can be done. But I'm disclosing everything.
Yeah,
So you don't come back on anyone. Like you know what you bought.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what you bought.
As is, baby, they say on the parking lot, as is.
As is.
You take
Yeah.
it off, it's
Sorry
yours.
if it breaks down in an hour, that was on you. You knew what it was. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That no permit. I mean, the foundation, who knows? Because even the foundation is the first permit is to see if you can even build it on there,
Yes.
and then the soil and all that stuff, get that checked out. But once you pour that concrete, that foundation, it's like,
Hmm.
alright,
Yeah.
you start building, but who knows?
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll have to keep you tabs on
Oh,
the
man,
story about
let's see if it gets sold and how much and
yeah. I mean, I just about a month ago I sold my friend's he had property and I mean he had everybody says about with real estate, they think it's glamorous. No, there's some ugly stuff too. I have a friend who Um, I basically helped him with the paperwork to sell, the property that was in his name, and, like, the property the house that was on the property, I'm pretty sure me and you, if we push the house, it would actually fall down.
yeah.
It didn't have a foundation. It had no concrete slab, which
Oh,
is crazy.
man.
But, yeah, anything can be real estate is not gl it's not there's it's glamorous, but there's some not so glamorous stuff that gets talked about with real estate.
Yeah, well, you heard the saying of slumlords,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know, buying these little rundown places. You know, what you buy, the quality that you buy, the home you live in, the rental properties you live in, or you wanna get and get going, you know, it really tells you, like, what what level you're willing to go in. Because I got
exactly.
friends
Yeah,
that are like, "Oh, man, I got these 4 or 5 rental properties, you know, all this, I'm trying to get a new renter in there, all this stuff," and man, he's like, "He's doing it. That guy's doing it, man." Like, he keeps telling me he has rental properties and all this stuff. Then the more I dug into it, I was like, "Well, how much you renting these places out?" He's like, "Anywhere from like $700 to 1,000." 700 to 1,000? Like,
how
how
small is
big? How big are these rental properties? Like 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms or whatever. I'm like, okay. And then he tells me the area. I was like, the one behind the railroad tracks. Those places. Those are your rental properties. I was like, "Oh, man. No wonder you keep complaining about getting new renters and stuff like that because they come in for a month or 2, they thrash it, and they're out."
exactly?
I was like, "Oh, dude." That's when I was like, "I'm not gonna be that. I gotta
No, and I
up
feel,
my
and
game a little bit."
you gotta view it. It's an investment. You take care of the property, and then the people who come in who rent, they take care of the property. That's you want good renters.
Yeah.
You don't want them to leave.
Yeah.
You want them to pay that mortgage down.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So wow. Yes, I had to give you that little story because that story is like I was just like, especially yesterday, I was like, I can't believe this. Like,
Yeah.
and then whatever you do, I'll say this too. If someone says that something's gonna be taken off or anything, make sure you have that in writing because hearsay does not mean anything.
Uh-uh.
You gotta have that. You gotta have a pen to that piece of paper, say like, and let it be known. Like, no, this because I've dealt with a lot of that too. Like, well, they told me this and they told me that. I'm like, who told you? Oh, up there. And I'm like, who'd you talk to? And like, did they write anything down? No. I'm like, then there's a whole bunch of hot air coming out your
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah. Legally, it's like, whatever. Like
Yeah.
that like that house. Legally, that house ain't even there.
Yeah. It's not there.
That house is not there.
Like the gentleman said from the county is, they, he's like this. He's like, I don't know what to be done needs to be done. Like you said, it's not there, but maybe you might need to tear it down. Even that, you're still taking the L.
Yep, yep, yep. Like, yeah. Yeah, depending yeah, you know what? That's I think I saw a video that, like, some guy bought these houses that weren't permitted, but his plan was, "Imma buy the lot. The lot is the money.
The dirt.
These houses don't mean crap." He ripped these 3 it was like, uh, what's it, ADUs?
Yeah.
It's like 3 ADUs in one little property, but it was split in 3 different parcels. He's like, "Yeah, these ADUs are horrible, they're not permitted." It's basically a shack someone built. He's like, he ripped them all down, built 3 new ADUs in the area, and permitted all that. He's like, "Yeah, the guy wanted to sell the property and the house. The house is on there, but he's like, no." He's like you said, no permits, none of that. So he was able to get it for basically bought the dirt.
That's what
And
he
then he
did.
ripped everything out after a couple months or whatever. He built 3 ones, and he was able to, like, quadruple his investment. I was like, "Dude, if you had a plan like that, alright, so it's all good."
If you have the capital for that, that'd be the best way because
Oh,
when you
for
started
sure.
from the ground up, you know exactly how your property is being built.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
exactly what's going on, and then when it's built, the maintenance, like we was talking about earlier, you ain't worrying about maintenance for a
Oh, man.
long time
If you have
because it's brand new.
Yeah, if you have good tenants that like to cut the grass, like to fish, you know, switch light bulbs out and do all the
Yeah.
little maintenance, you'll never have to hear from
No.
that's how I was.
Yeah.
I was that renter. I was just like, "Man, the water here is not working. I'm a I'm a relight the pilot, all the pilots out. I'm just gonna go to Home Depot, get the
Yeah.
new pilot light, just switch it out." And then like it was like a couple months later, I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way," I told my landlord, I was like, "Oh, by the way, like last month it went out, I just fixed it." She's like, "You did?" I was like, "Yeah, it's easy, you know, I just fixed it." She's like, "Oh, you should tell me. I would have called, you know, a guy to
Yeah.
come out." I was like, "Man, that would have been like a $200 call just to get him out there. You can give me the 200."
$100. Yeah, right. Deduct that off my rent.
But she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're the best." I was like, "Yeah, well, hopefully I did right. It was only, you know, a couple screws, but
Exactly. I'm living.
yeah, you know."
All right, world. Well, that's another episode of the Professionals Investing Podcast. My guy Rocky.
Yep.
Everybody have a blessed day.
Peace.